Good afternoon, everyone. My name is DeKalb, and I'm the marketing manager of the DeKalb Entertainment Commission. And welcome to our 2021 annual Entertainment Expo series. Our 2021 series will continue our mission. We'll continue our mission to highlight talented and respected entertainment industry professionals while providing you with opportunities to connect, collaborate, and create locally in film, music, and digital entertainment in DeKalb County, as well as in Georgia. So far, we've had 4 panels hosted by our wonderful entertainment partners. We've had GPP, which is Georgia Production Partnerships, in May, Georgia Music Partners in June, Georgia Hollywood Review in July, and last month we had the Screen Actors Guild of America Federation and Television and Radio Artists. All of our panels have included respected members of the film, music, and digital media industries who are passionate about sharing their experiences and building a collaborative infrastructure in Georgia. Today's panel is no different, and it's entitled Power Women in Entertainment. Let me repeat that, Power Women in Entertainment. The strength of WIFTA, which is Women Film and Television Atlanta, behind women in entertainment. Without further ado, please welcome our moderator, Board President of WIFTA and Director of Communications of Warner Media Distribution, Ms. Robin Watson, as the moderator. Welcome, Robin, and thank you to all the panels for joining us, and thank you, audience, for joining us today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm super excited when I get to talk about some of my favorite things. Like I tell everyone, my day job, as head of communications for Warner Media Distribution in Atlanta is great. I love my job, but my passion is talking about kind of women in the film and television and emerging technologies industry. This is where I get excited about what we're doing and how we're making an impact in this entertainment field. So I'd like to just give you a little bit of background if you're not sure about WIFTA. We are a member-based organization of creative media professionals. We have over 750 women and men supporters of our industry, and we've been around for a while. We are the second oldest women in film and television chapter, just behind LA, and there are 40 plus chapters across the US. There's a Women in Film and Television US board, and then there's also an international board, which I'm happy to say that I sit on the international board as well. So our kind of mark and our hands in everything goes across globally. And again, I get excited when when I have the time to talk about the impact that women have made on this industry and will continue to make on this industry. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my esteemed panelists who will tell you guys a little bit about what they do in the industry. So it's Angie Bones, who happens to be one of my board members, WIFTA board members. And she'll tell us a little bit about herself. And then Karen Cisse, who has been a WIFTA supporter, she did a lot with the board and is very strong in the industry as well. So Angie, tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll switch it over to Karen.
Angie Bones here. I live in Atlanta from Los Angeles. I'm a producer and a DGA UPM, locally based here in Atlanta. I work on film and television. I'm on the WIFTA board, and not much to say about me, but that's it.
Hey, Karen.
All righty. I'm Karen Cisse. I'm an actor, writer, producer here in Atlanta. My time with WIFTA goes back to the 90s when I was just starting out, and now I think I'm one of the elder statesmen now, and I remember the women that I looked up to back in the day, and I'm proud to follow in their footsteps. Many people might know me from Stranger Things. I'm Lucas and Erica's mom on Stranger Things, been on Walking Dead I'm still alive. 6 seasons, baby, what, right? And originally from Philadelphia. Sorry, guys, about that game. But anyway, green, right? And that's me in a nutshell.
Well, that's great. And yes, it's funny because I go into the WIFTA archive stuff and I see Karen's name on things, and I'm like, Karen, so that's great. So we're going to get this conversation started. And, the one thing I always think about, when I think of women in film and television, organizations like this is like, why do these things exist? And it's great to always hear kind of like the stories of the women who started out doing one thing or being excited about something in the entertainment industry, getting looped into organizations like this. But like, how do you like get your journey, your entertainment journey started, and how do you own that journey? So Angie, why don't you give us a little bit of background on how you got started? And I've heard this story before and I love hearing it. So
Well, many moons ago, I started out, actually I was an intern, and I was in between careers. Well, not in between, I was up for to go to the LA Police Academy. And I was going out to lunch every day with my mother, and there was a flyer on the wall that says volunteers needed for a movie, and the movie was Panther. And I grew up volunteering, so anything that involves public service, that was me growing up as a child. So I volunteered for this little movie, I thought, and I didn't know what that meant. And I was directed by Mario Van Peebles, and basically I interned, and then a week later, they was like, do you want to stay on? And I was like, well, how much does it pay? Because at the time I had 3 small children. And they were like, well, we'll pay you $500 a week. I'm like, great, pays for daycare. And here I am today.
Love that story. Love that story. So Karen, tell us a little bit about your career and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I literally came out the womb going, where's my light? You know what I mean? Like, I was one of those kids that just needed a lot of attention. And then my friend Derek Jameson went to Freedom Theater in Philadelphia. We went to see him in a show. And I was like, but I looked at my mom, and then I'm going to take my glasses off, right? And then I was enamored. And it's been a journey since I was 10 years old. I've been acting. Came to Atlanta, went to Spelman College, and right. And I was a dual degree engineering major when I got here, and then switched to theater, but did technical stuff. So I graduated, was in the audiovisual industry for about 20 years, and that's what got me into WIFTA. My friend Leanne was on the board at the time, and I used to just come in and set up meetings for them. You know what I mean? Nobody really knew how to use the equipment and everything. So I would come in and set up meetings, and I ended up on the board, and that was back in the 90s. You probably saw a picture of me bartending at one of the galas back in the day. That's kind of where I started. And honestly, we could talk offline, but I was the, Tammy Tanaka and I were the co-chairs of the 40th gala.
Yep.
And we talked to Beverly, who's the founder of this chapter, and learned so much about the founding of this chapter and the history of the Atlanta film industry and all of it, how everyone is connected. And WIFTA has just been a part of my journey the whole entire time, because women just network differently. You know what I mean? And this is the place for us to network in a way that we form friendships and bonds. And it's about that more so than just who can do this for me. And people that I met 20 some years ago, I am still friends with, really good friends, supportive people that I can count on and trust over the years. So that's my journey.
Yeah. And that's great to hear, because this industry is crazy, right? And there are a lot of naysayers and people saying, oh, like questioning why you make it, like Angie, like why wouldn't you go take that police academy test and do that versus being in this industry that's we know is not. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. So how do you, right? So how do you guys, deal with like not getting caught up with what everybody's saying or like pushing the naysayers to the side so you can stay focused on whatever that end goal is? Because that's the toughest part. I mean, I think with we as women, we're here to kind of support each other, but I know I still hear it that people are like, why is she prison? Or why does she think she could do that? Like, how do you get around that in your like day to day, and then overall how you got around it for your overall goals?
Well, for me, it was a passion. It's like once I got into it and just saw the art of filmmaking and the camaraderie of the crew and the cast and everything that goes into making a film from script to screen, it's like once it's in your blood, like you said, Karen, you came out the womb asking, looking for your light. It's like once you get into this industry, it's a passion. And yes, we started out in this industry with no insurance, no pension or anything like that, but you know that that will eventually come, and it's just that the end product, you're just so proud of what you've done. It's definitely passion driven. It's either for you or it's not.
Right.
I think one of the things, because I had a two-pronged situation, you know, when you're a kid, you can just dream, right? And then a lot of the naysayers are really internal voices of, I don't want to be a starving artist. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want to, I just want a regular job. You know, I was in, and I think when I was about 28, that was when I was like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to stop focusing on my backup plan. This is what I want to do. And when you focus on what you want to do and you surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, your path will be illuminated and things will just come out of the woodwork for you. But you have to make that decision. You have to accept what you want out of life first and say no to everything else that gets in the way of that.
Right.
You know, I've been taking a class with Bob Proctor of the Proctor-Gallagher Institute. And that was one of the things. It's like, once you have to accept what your goals are, accept what you want to do in life, follow it, work toward it every day. And then whatever is telling you in your life that's telling you you can't do it.
Put that to the side. Put that to the side. Right. And so with that, like, I think a lot of women, you know, are challenged with that. But, you know, I have a fact. This is a fact. Of the top 250 films of 2020, 80% had no women directors. Wow. We're talking 2020, which was last year, right? 73% had no women writers. 41% had no women executive producers. 26% had no women producers. 72% had no women editors, and 94% had no women cinematographers. However, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at our membership. I'm looking at the folks that we've had that, you know, across the Women in Film chapters across the US internationally. So I feel like I've seen some changes, but you guys are like living in it. Have you seen the changes? Okay, I'm gonna start with Karen because she moved her seat up.
I'm gonna tell you this right here, right? Because I remember when we were doing the gala and everything, I remember us getting those stats. I know Gina Davis Institute has been very on top of that,
sharing that. Yep.
Can I tell you that those stats are way better than they were, 6-7 years ago?
Okay.
And that those stats had been consistent for pretty much the entirety of this industry.
Okay.
Wow. So in a post Me Too era, we've seen the growth. It's still like this. But I think once women get into positions of power, we tend to pull other people up and
absolutely.
Whereas the normalcy of this industry has been to keep people out. And I think that's what's really important with women really getting into positions of power is we open it up for everyone.
Right. And so, Angie, I know you're always busy. And so, like, somebody like you look at these stats, like, what do you think? Like,
I mean, it's hard to say that we've seen improvements. It's hard to say that we've seen a lot of improvement.
Right.
Is there improvement? Yes. Have I been getting calls because, you know, of the George Floyd movement, whether it's people of color, whether it's me being a woman? Yes, there is some improvement, but we can still do much better. And I feel that it's not only at my level as a producer, but I feel it's like also at a studio level. It's like we need to make changes in those buildings so that way we can move forward more and hire more women, hire more people of color to get our position, so that way we can, you know, broaden the scope of how film and television looks.
Yeah. And we do need to really say that after 2020, everyone really has been posed with quality of life questions. And this is not really an industry that is conducive for good quality of life, you know, where you're seen as being a sellout, or you're seen as wanting too much if you want to sleep, you know, and you know, have insurance, and I don't know, have children,
and vacation,
you know,
and vacation,
maybe I want to do something with my life, you know, other than just be on set. And so I think that conversation is definitely expanding, especially right now. I won't go into the details, but you know, that's another question that is more framed toward women than men, because women have generally been the prime caretakers, and have been not able to participate in this industry as a result over the years. And that's what we see represented in those numbers.
Right, right. So let's talk a little bit more about what's happening here locally in Georgia. Another fun fact. According to the Georgia Department of Economic Development, Georgia resulted in a record $2.9 billion invested in the state during the 2019 fiscal year. A large part of that success is due to women in film who continue to help shape the industry in Georgia. That is a fact that, you know, we're sticking by. Again, does that correlate with what you see as far as like women directors or producers or whatever here in the state of Georgia?
In my world, for sure. There's a huge number of women directors, producers, first ADs here, women of color, and just collaboration in general with his writers. But I definitely see that here. I know that my colleagues, some are men, but most are women. It's like when I pick up the phone to call somebody, it's like, hey, I need advice on this project and the area that we're shooting in. Most of the people that I call are women, but that's Atlanta though. But yeah, it's very prevalent here.
And it's I think Georgia in the building, like we've been able to build it after all of that was built back in the day, and we've been able to build a more diverse market. And you look at just with the Georgia Film Academy, the diversity of the people that take the PA course, which is kind of the entry course. And when we talk about diversity, it's not just race, it's not just gender, it's not just sexual identity, it's age. You know what I mean? It's different ability people. I like to say back in 2019, you know, before everything happened, I do a lot of table reads. So for a lot of the projects, even if I'm not in it, I help out with the table reads and everything. And within 3 months, this was at the beginning of 2019, I worked on P-Valley. I worked on, what is it, The Baker and the Beauty, or, you know what I mean? And it was all these things. And then it culminated with going on Tyler Perry's studio lot, prior to the big reveal, prior to the purple carpet. And I'm driving on, and I remember just seeing my husband works for Tyler Perry as well, and just seeing the growth. And then to come into this, see a Black female showrunner, Black female directors on every single episode, and an all Black cast, an all Latin cast of the Baker and the Beautiful, seeing all these female directors. And I swear, when I got on Tyler Perry's lot, I sat down and cried in my car for a minute, because I was like, look at where we have come, and look what this man has done with, you know, Confederate Army base. You know? So yeah, it's a lot of growth.
Well, so there's a lot of growth here, like we see it, right? Because we're in Atlanta, we see it. So do you think the industry kind of sees that for us? I mean, so what can we do? Because I know both of you are very instrumental in kind of like reaching back and getting involved and wanting to see the younger set, or whoever pivots into this career, like do better and do bigger. Like, what can we do kind of like here in Atlanta to make the entertainment world kind of see us a little better, that we are setting the tone for things?
I think they already see that. I mean, based on the circles and the calls that I receive, I definitely think they see the talent here, and it's mostly female based. They definitely see it. I'm talking about, I can't name the studios or anything, but the studios do recognize what we have here in Atlanta is like, you know, it's magic with there's so many women in charge here.
Yeah.
So many women leading the way and paving the way for other young women, and bringing young women and men up behind them and training them. So definitely, I think it's definitely being recognized.
Okay. You just need to really be consistent, right? And keep putting out good work. Because I'll have so many times where I'm on something and people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe we got all this great talent. Really? That's what
really? Right.
You really? And it's just, I mean, initially I used to be offended by, why do they have to get everybody out from LA and then bring them here? And I'm still slightly salty, but you know, it's like, you go with who you know. In this industry, people can have reference, you know, they can have experience on page, but I don't know what kind of worker they are. So you tend to keep going with the people that you know produce, you know what I mean? Have
Right.
stuff, you know what I mean? So I think that's what it is right now. The more and more they see that we can do it, and the more and more you know, that they experience it, and all of them are moving here. You know what I mean? So I think it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Right. So from my perspective, I see it's like, all right, you know, it's like, I know I got all these members. I see what the women here are doing, you know, the numbers, and we got the percentages backing us up. But like, how do we get like the Netflix to start like living here a little bit more? Like, how do we get more of the bigger brand entertainment brands like here, sitting here, having offices here? I mean, I always tell the stories of like, oh, Marvel comes here and they shoot. But how do we get Marvel to have a presence here and in the community for us? And I would love for like women in film, since we do have that like back, like I would love for us to kind of be kind of like in charge of like getting that to happen. Help me do that. So how would I do that? What do you think I need to do as a leader of this board?
It's so hard because it's a combination of things, right?
Right.
It's yeah, we want them to be here, but I think even more importantly, we need to enable people to tell their own stories here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the more and more people that are here, that are empowered to tell their own stories, their own kind of way, the more we'll see that. And again, the more and more people move here. I'm on a show, you know, one of the shows I'm on, it's like people are like, oh my God. And these are like stars that are just wanting to be here. And the more people want to exist and buy into the lifestyle, then we'll see more of that happen.
It's something, you know, like post 2020, it's like there are so many shows that have chosen Atlanta as their home, and it's something happened this year to where it's like we're busting at the seams. So they're here, and hopefully that them being here, they're going to get a taste of Atlanta and see what we have to offer and want to stay and continue to come back. Or even, like you said, you know, have brick and mortar here. So that's what I'm hoping for.
And so that's what I'm leaning on, because I think, you know, coming off of 2020 and like, you know, halfway now, almost into 2022, but the last year and a half, because of COVID and all, there's been a spotlight on Atlanta and like how we've been moving and how we've been operating, and that's a great spotlight for me. So again, my vision is like this time next year, I want to be able to say to your point, Karen, we told these stories. These are the stories that are impacting the entertainment industry. Okay, come on now, like Marvel, like come on now, get an office and have somebody sitting here, because y'all need us. Y'all need to be sitting here to like kind of work with us. And so that is really my goal, my long-term goal. You know, and making sure women in film are at the spotlight of that.
I think one of the challenges though is that people tend to take what they think of the South and put it on us, like project what their opinion of the South
Absolutely.
And not realize that we are so much more further ahead and progressive than a lot of these markets that have been around for so long that like to say things morally or whatever, but it's like, no, but it's happening here. I'm not going to put eight figures, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't tell the stories.
I ain't gonna spill all the tea.
Don't do that.
Yeah, it's the perception of the South and what needs to break as far as what people think is in the South and what is available in the South.
And that's true, because like, so I'm a New Yorker, right? I came down here in 2016, and I went to undergraduate down here, but I'm a New Yorker. But I came back down here in 2016, and you know, one of the things I was like hyped about was coming to like Women in Film in Atlanta, because for some reason I was like, oh, it's going to be like the same, you know, like Women in Film, all Women in Film. It was very telling, right? And nothing. It has nothing to do with like the board or like the members. It's just like where they sat and the perceptions of like Georgia and the South. And so kind of getting over that hump, because right now we have a great story to tell. I don't care. We have a better story than New York. We have a better story than LA. I'm claiming it. And, you know, like, and one of my goals is to get those stories kind of out there so people start seeing us, you know, a little differently. And that we just become this Women in Film organization that is doing the right thing for their members in Atlanta. So I want to check and see first if there's no questions in the chat. And if you guys have questions, please drop them in the chat, because we can keep talking, but we want to hear from you, to hear what you guys want to hear from these ladies. So what's going on now, Angie? Like, tell us how like production has gotten back into.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know, because you're always, like I said, my girl Angie is always busy. And we'll get to you, Karen, because I know you're always busy too.
I feel so
Angie
bad.
probably sent about 7 emails right here while she was talking. She probably was like, "Is it a deal?"
I have it off. My phone is off. They're coming through. Getting nervous.
Right. Sweating.
Like, oh God, there's 20. Oh goodness. But as far as like, it's just so busy right now.
Right.
I got a call just the other day as far as, booking, trailers for cast members, hair, makeup, and your equipment. It's like January is booking up. It's like,
right.
Yeah, 2020. I think everybody started to go back to work. Of course, Tyler Perry was the first to go back. I can't remember the month, but I went back in August, and you just saw shows coming from there. But the influx of work right now, it's hard to find a PA available. That's how busy it is. And it's like, that's not an exaggeration. It's so busy right now. And it's a blessing, because so many people in Atlanta, coming off 2020, we all fell behind in something or another. Now to see everyone working is so great. It's so great.
And it is, because I was like nervous, when am my members and my board gonna get back to work? Like, seriously, because we have this charge, and we want to see each other like working and being prosperous. And I knew that that Atlanta was like on the mark, like we were there. So like, how do we kind of keep that going while COVID is still happening? So I'm glad to hear that you're kind of like
hoping that it keeps going right now. But I don't know what 2022 is going to give, but latter part of 2020 and 2021, you cannot catch your breath. That's how busy.
Okay. That's a good busy. So we'll take that. Karen.
Yes, the auditions have been on and popping, like crack-a-lacking left and right. So it is, and in this industry, especially as an actor, we can look busy, but
right.
I'm watching TV, I'm on Instagram. No, but it's just the more auditions you have, like, I come from the mindset, it takes 10 no's to get to a yes. So the more no's I get, the quicker I get to my yes. And the more auditions you have, then the quicker you get to your next job. But when they're like streaming along, it's like, who knows when it's going to be. So it has just been an unbelievable amount of, and so many different formats, like so many different places and entities. I remember, years ago when they kept saying the work is coming, and everyone had to leave, go to LA or New York in order to move up. And they kept saying the work is coming, when?
Right.
So now it is here, big time.
Good.
And they just need to start looking as us as a first stop in addition to just local casting. I think that is the next hump that we got to get over, is them just seeing us as local casting or local talent as opposed to talent.
So so that's part of my like Atlanta, like we don't want to live in this Atlanta bubble anymore, right? Because I feel like we've proven ourselves. So how do we kind of be like, we're in the entertainment industry, like Karen's available here, like for everything, not just what you got right here.
Exactly.
So, right. That's a goal of ours, and with people like you, like supporting us, like we need to continue to hear those things, so we know how to kind of push it. We work very closely with the Women in Film in LA and NYWIFT, New York Women in Film and Television, and just kind of like they're struggling too, because don't believe that hype. LA with the money and all that stuff. The industry is still the industry, so they're having like similar struggles. So we're like having the conversations like how can women in film like support each other across at least if not all the chapters, at least between Atlanta, New York, and LA, to kind of get the word out that women want to work and they want to do good things because they're we can and have been doing great things.
But I
So,
see that the question here about what would you tell your younger self?
mhm.
And that was one of the things when I, back in the early 2000s or whatever, when I go out to LA and everything, I'd always go to a women in film because they got like what 3 chapters out there, like 3 or 4 chapters.
They got one chapter with 10,000 people, so they
Right.
probably break it. I mean, that's everybody's belongs to that chapter. Yes.
But the main thing is you get out what you put in, right? You know what
Yep.
I mean? You can't sit around and wait for things to come to you. You have to get out there and take things and work hard. But with women in film, I always found a way to let that be my voice. When I'm starting off and I didn't really have a lot of credits or didn't have things, I like you, Angie, came from a place where my mom and my dad always told me, you got to get involved, you got to volunteer, you got to do
Right.
things.
Right.
And until I could make a name for myself, I was Karen saying with women in film. Like that was what
right.
And I'd run programs and do things just so that I could have access to people without trying to push myself on them, be like, oh, here's my headshot. Look at me.
Right.
But now I could do something that's helping give education to other people, but it's still putting me in some type of forefront. So I'm able to put spotlight on myself without it being about myself. And I think that's a big thing about organizations and where you get involved is you have to find a place that you believe in and find a cause that you want to champion and people that you like to be around and work toward that, and things will come to you. And 20 years later, it's still a part of my life. And that is one of the biggest things, that people don't know how to effectively network a lot of times in this industry.
Yeah.
And about building relationships and not what can you do for me.
Right. And that's not just for like your younger, like that's for women who are coming into this industry, who are trying to do a career pivot, who like we get a lot of folks who like will sign up and want to be volunteers. And, the first thing is like, I want to get a job on this. I was like, do you know anything about this? And so like, we encourage like our members and all to come volunteer with us. Cause one event, we might put you seated at a table at an event where you're talking to a lot of people who need more from you than you need from them at that point. But then there might be opportunity where you're like kind of running spot for us on a panel that has, like the Angie Bones of the world, all of the studio folks who are here. Like that's where you like, we try and kind of hone our members' skills. Like that's how you learn how to network. Like, so kind of like use the organization, use your membership to get what you need. But like you said, like kind of walk into it like, I want to learn about this industry that will ultimately get me to where I want to be.
Yeah, be a giver in a world full of takers.
Exactly, because this world is a world of takers. So, so we had another questions come in.
I already took my glasses off, so I can't read.
Okay, I'm reading them. I got you. So one question is, do you recommend working for free or volunteering for experience? I think we kind of answered that, but
absolutely.
Right?
Free working experience, hands-on, please do it. Please. That's how I got in, and a lot of my interns go on to do amazing things just by interning for a company.
The work, you gotta work though. When you come in volunteer, you gotta work and do your word and come show up on time early, you know what I mean, and all of that. Right. And it will help you. But you don't want to be that volunteer person for forever, but that will get it. You know what I mean? You got to get in the door.
So Angie, like you're talking about kind of like volunteer opportunities and all, like, are there opportunities of like working with you? Do you guys have like a set program? Because, me and WIFTA, I'm trying to set up like mentoring opportunities to make sure that our members have the, can meet you, drink coffee with you, be on a set with you, and not just see you on a Zoom call or at a WIFTA event. So,
well, right now,
maybe not so much.
Only phone calls, but it's just basically, yes, I take interns. It's kind of hard now because of COVID, so we haven't done that over the last year. But mentoring via Zoom, I have been doing that. Okay, so that is definitely a way, and I love to give advice because I know I had to find my way coming up. Make the mistakes and, wasn't sure where I was going. What is this? What do I really want to do? And then someone sat down with me and told me their path. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be a producer and follow the path of the assistant director program. I shouldn't say program, wasn't in the program, but I was an AD and turned in my 100 days to become, to get into the DGA. But definitely I'm open to talking, advising, mentoring at all times.
And Karen, like, so being an actor, like you said, you came out the womb. There's probably a lot of people like you. Some make it and some don't. Like, what have you done? What did you do? Like, what did you do that you can tell somebody today, like tangibly, here's what you should do?
You have to know what you want and go after it. And it's not going to be immediate. Like, it's, what I mean? Like, this industry, it'll have you doubting who you are. It'll have you thinking that you don't know yourself, or you're not good enough, or not trusting your worth if you don't know who you are and what you about. And that means you do have to build a strong foundation, or you will be yet another statistic in this industry of broken people. So you have to be something outside of this industry. You have to have things that make you happy and people that are a part of you that will be our truth tellers. And you know what I mean? You got to surround yourself with people that lift you up in all aspects of your life, and not just this industry. This is an industry that will have you off balance. It'll be all like this, and you have to constantly work to do this. And again, it's very difficult, especially for women, when we talk about families and things like that. It's very, very hard. Thankfully, I had a support system that I had to build. I don't have any family down here. My husband's family is down here, but they were far. So when it came to me having a baby and I got to be on set at 5 a.m, or stuff like that, it ended up being my son's friends' parents that were helping me and picking him up and making sure he got to and from school and, things like that. So you really have to build a strong support system around you, really.
Are there other organizations that you ladies belong to that like WIFTA could partner with? I mean, we're happy to kind of like spread our wings and partner with other organizations that support our community that we need help with. So besides like the standard, like organizations, but we love them. We work well with them. But are there other organizations that you guys belong to that off the top of your head that you could think of that we should partner with, that we should be like doing business with at this point?
Did we mention GPP? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we love GPP. Let's rattle them all off.
And then it's the same people. Once again, you go back to who founded GPP. They're like cousins. WIFTA and GPP are like cousins.
But that's the thing about Atlanta. There aren't many organizations that, we can name all of them on one hand. So maybe that's something that whoever's on this call may come up with an organization or something. Young Filmmakers of Atlanta, I don't know.
Come up with something,
or come up with some type of collaborative, where you could. And when I was in LA, there was this thing called Doughboys Dozens, and on Fridays, the first Fridays of the month, you would go see, all the filmmakers would go see a certain film at the theater in Leimert Park, and we would all collaborate with each other, talking, things like that. It's like there's not much of that, It used to be of something years ago. I think we all got so busy within our career that we stopped meeting at a certain bar. It's like you need to get back into that.
And so we do have an opportunity to do that, and kind of create some more like role models here in Atlanta. So who were some of your role models, kind of like, as you're going through this industry? I'll start with you, Karen. Do you have?
It's so funny.
And they don't have to be Atlanta based. They could be like role models, and you're like, I'm gonna make it big in Atlanta, and I'm gonna show you that in LA that I did it.
Honestly, I will really have to go back to people I met through WIFTA when I was a 20-something.
Really?
Susan Satterfield. I'm going to throw out Susan.
Throw out
everybody knows Susan. And Susan started off as a 20-something, in this organization as well. And someone saw her and pulled her up, and she has been there for a lot of us. The late great Deborah Duke, right? I'm getting caught up, right?
That's right.
Sorry.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people here. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna stop.
Okay, Angie, I'm gonna let Angie.
I did my makeup, y'all. I can't.
Yeah, you can't. Don't just dab. But yes, there are the it's great to I'm sorry you're getting choked up, but it's great to hear that there's a history of women who have supported women right here in Atlanta. And I know, like, I wouldn't have been able to come from New York and come here and be the president right now if those women hadn't kind of set the stage and like did the work. And now, like, I feel this like pressure to keep it going, like keep the work going. Like, what do we have to do next? Like, what more do we need to do to kind of, so in 5 years we can say, oh, 2020 was just a blur, and like, here are all the great things that we did. So thank you for that, Karen.
There really needs to be, and this is what's holding us back, I'd say. All decisions are still being made in LA.
In LA,
I mean,
that's the point. Yes,
this is not considered a point of origin. It's like a point in between. They come here, do their stuff, and then they take it somewhere else.
Right.
And it's completely their thing. So I think we have to also remember that Atlanta is still a baby. We're like a teenager that's like 18.
I get it.
Got all the goods. It's like Harry Potter in the second or third book. You know what I mean? It's like we're still growing into being that awesome wizard that we're gonna be. You know what I mean? And
or
the city of the future.
Right. But is that so? Is this it? Not is this for us? Is that what we should be striving for? Like, we are like the production place, and like we need to grow exponentially on that note, knowing that Netflix might not ever come in here and set up a brick and mortar. Marvel is still going to come in. Like, so should that be the mindset? I mean, as the kind of industry folks, like, is that how we should be focusing like all our energy? Or should it be like, no, we want to be like LA, we want to be like, I mean, I kind of love the individuality, but I wanted, when you don't think we're going to grow.
I love that we're not LA. I love that we're not. I hate the Yollywood and the Hollywood of the South. I'm like, we're Atlanta.
I hate that.
We're just a different market, and we offer different things for different people. And as we continue to grow, we'll be able to offer more things for more people. But we're just a different market. And I think we need to focus on what is our identity as an artistic place, as an artistic home, and not looking for outside validation. Again, we have to know who we are and what we want to offer to this industry. And, if people want to do the LA thing, they can be broken to the LA thing. No, I'm sorry. Just a little shade.
It is a little high.
I love LA.
and I love LA too. And I love what you're saying. I mean, I love, like I said, the individuality of like Atlanta, and we are like, we're kind of making our mark. So again, my goal for like the organization is to continue to have like this stronghold and produce women like you who are like always excited to do other things for other women, always excited to support this industry, but make sure like you're pulling in folks that, the women, the people who have supported you, the young women who are coming up, the women, who are pivoting into this career and offering advice. And I love that. And so I'll stand down and be like that. That's where we need to be. But I do want, like, there's so much going on here. For me, it's more of telling the stories about what's going on here, and then telling the stories of like women like you who are continuing to do such great things no matter what. So I love that.
I want to also drop a little bit, I'm a Leo, if you can't tell. So I talk a lot, but it's just, I really want to make a moment to just talk about Beverly, the founder of this organization, and the fact that she's in her 80s and is still doing, she's a photographer, she's an artist, she's still doing all of these things. And when she set out when there was only one chapter of women in film in LA, and she moved her way up. She like was an owner of AMT, so Kathy Hardigree and everything, before Shay, who was pretty much the pinnacle of everyone here too, Shay Bentley Griffith, and she saw the vision back in the 70s, you know what I mean? And we came in 74, but it was through her work and her vision of not allowing, just because she was a woman in this industry, that did not affect what she wanted for herself and what she wanted for the city. And I think there's a way of us to say, okay, there are things that are thrown our way as women that make things difficult or challenging. There are things that are thrown our way as people of color, Black women, women of color. But those things don't have to define us negatively or define what we can't do, but just be the wind beneath our wings to really push us into different places, because so much of the pushback is self-inflicted, And if you believe in yourself and you believe in that vision, just go for it. Shoot,
you walked out like, I want to be a star. You came out the womb, I want to be a star.
I mean, I had some busted years now, I ain't gonna lie, right? We all had those years.
Right. So that's a great takeaway for the women who are, for the members who are listening in to take away from. So Angie, what's one takeaway, one highlight that you want to tell the folks on the other end about today's conversation? What do you want them to know?
Don't ever give up. You'll get to that point in your life and your career where you feel like it's never going to happen for me, and you're just about to give up. There's that turn that takes you and just propels your career. I was in that 2 or 3 times. It's like, don't give up. And like Karen said, surround yourself with people who's going to motivate you what you're doing. But most of all, also in this career, take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. It's like you'll forget about it, and then all of a sudden things happen and you don't know what happened. It's just take care of yourself.
And that I agree. That's just a woman thing. Take care of yourself while yes, you can take care of everything else too, but make sure you take care of yourself, because you know how we do.
While you take care of everybody else.
Right. Oxygen mask and all that stuff. First, so you can get everybody else out. Well, like this has been the conversation that I wanted to have. And I hope everyone who's on the other end has enjoyed hearing from these ladies. Again, WIFTA, we have a lot going on that I'm excited about. 2020 was a rough year for everybody, including our little member organization. We had to figure out like how to keep our members engaged. Figure out it was a tough year. So do we ask for you to pay your membership dues? How do we let people slide for a while who really need just to have kind of like our community and our organization? And so it's exciting for me to come in and we got some really great things going on. We've done some things in 2021. We got some really great things planned for 2022. And, of course, partnering with our community and the DeKalb County Entertainment Commission. This is all great and exciting stuff for us, and so I appreciate you ladies. I know I think Bronwyn's gonna Deonde is gonna jump in here.
Yes, I'm gonna jump in. Oh my goodness, ladies, everything that you shared was phenomenal. Thank you for your words, your wisdom. And I think the things that you shared will definitely help many, many people in the industry. Thank you. But if you guys have nothing else, I just want to, I think you guys did your takeaways, and normally, if Shelby was doing this, she would ask for your takeaways, but you all did a wonderful job with just kind of giving your last thoughts of making sure what you really wanted to convey during your conversation. So what I think I need to do is just kind of close it out and just thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. We have one more Expo panel planned for this year. So I just want to make sure that everyone follows us up on Facebook and Instagram at DeKalb Entertain. And you can also see our current and previous panels on our website at DeKalbEntertainment.com. And our final expo will be for 2021 will be on Tuesday, October 12th at 1 p.m. And it is going to be on basically the economic impact of entertainment for DeKalb County as well as for Georgia. I want to make sure that I thank you all, Robin Watson, Angie Bone, and Karen Cisse for your talent, for your time, and for joining us today. And if everyone could please just go visit www.wifta.org, WIFTA.org, and just learn a little bit more about the organization and see how you could connect.
And I put it in a chat.
Okay, thank you.
And our board members' contact information is also on there. So.
Yes, absolutely. And lastly, I want to thank our audience, our advocates and partners, and of course, our dynamic team, DEC, which I'm a part of. And we thank you all for our support, and everyone have a phenomenal afternoon.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you.
All right.
Great job. Thank you.